Argentina is famous for its sun, tango, and vibrant energy, not for snow. The country's identity is woven from warm afternoons, bustling city streets, and the passionate rhythms of dance, not icy winds or frosted rooftops. So when winter hit with rare intensity, it stunned the nation. Streets that usually echoed with laughter and music fell quiet beneath a blanket of white, as if the entire country paused to marvel at the transformation. Mendoza's lush vineyards, usually basking in sunlight, vanished under a thick layer of snow, a sight almost no one had seen before. The familiar green rows were replaced by a silent, glistening landscape, leaving locals and visitors alike in awe. Social media buzzed with images of this unexpected winter wonderland. People snapped photos, shared videos, and sent messages to friends and family, capturing the surreal beauty of their transformed surroundings. The cold didn't stop at the Andes. It swept down from the mountains, reaching places that rarely see more than a chilly breeze, blanketing valleys and towns in white. Buenos Aires, known for mild winters, was gripped by a deep freeze. The city's iconic landmarks, from the obelisk to the colorful streets of La Boca, took on a new, frosty appearance. Porteños swapped café terraces for thick scarves and hurried walks as the city's usual rhythm slowed. The familiar outdoor chatter faded, replaced by the sound of boots crunching on icy sidewalks. Conversations everywhere revolved around the cold snap from subway rides to bakery lines. People shared stories of frozen pipes, snowball fights, and the challenge of staying warm in homes built for heat, not cold. In Mendoza, vineyard owners worried about their grapes, uncertain how the frost would affect the year's harvest and the future of their livelihoods. While in Buenos Aires, the city's infrastructure was put to the test. Crews worked around the clock to clear snow, keep roads safe, and ensure the city kept moving despite the freeze. Parks emptied, people huddled indoors with hot mate, and the nation collectively braced for the chill. Families gathered by windows, watching the snow fall, finding comfort in togetherness. The contrast was striking, a land of sun, now shivering under an Andean winter. Familiar landscapes were unrecognizable, transformed overnight into scenes from another world. This wasn't the Argentina of travel brochures, it was a country transformed, forced to adapt. Daily routines changed and people found new ways to connect and cope with the cold. The snow and cold became national talking points, sparking wonder and concern. News outlets covered the story, and everyone had an opinion or a story to share. Nature had delivered a powerful reminder. Even the sunniest places can be caught off guard. The snow on palm trees was a symbol of unpredictability and a lesson in resilience. This rare winter would be remembered for its beauty, its disruption, and the way it united Argentines in surprise. For a brief moment, the entire nation shared in the wonder of a world turned white, creating memories that would last long after the snow melted away. As the cold deepened, Argentina's Servicio Meteorológico Nacional became the nation's lifeline. Their forecasts, once routine, now shaped daily life and decisions. Meteorologists tracked a massive polar air mass, warning of frost and even snow in unlikely places. Their maps and alerts explained how Antarctic air was surging north, connecting Buenos Aires' freeze to distant Patagonia. Argentines checked the SMN app religiously, bracing for each new update. The agency's warnings about wind chill, sensación térmica, helped people prepare for the true bite of the cold. Farmers protected crops, city officials opened shelters, and everyone relied on the SMN's guidance. Accurate forecasting became a public service, giving communities precious time to act. In a winter like no other, the SMN was more than a weather bureau. It was a national safety net. What caused this extraordinary winter, a season so cold it surprised even the locals and left much of Argentina blanketed in snow and ice? Scientists across the country pointed to a familiar culprit, La Niña, the powerful climate phenomenon that can reshape weather patterns across the globe. This recurring climate pattern cools the surface waters of the Pacific Ocean, but in South America, its effects are far-reaching, often unleashing powerful blasts of polar air that sweep across the continent. La Niña strengthens high-pressure systems over Antarctica, opening a pathway for frigid air to surge northward, straight into the heart of Argentina. The usual westerly winds that typically shield the country are disrupted, replaced by a direct, icy flow from the pole, making the cold even more intense and persistent. Cold, dense air spills out of Patagonia, sweeping relentlessly towards central Argentina, chilling everything in its path from the southern plains to the bustling cities. That's why a sudden freeze in Buenos Aires often follows reports of bitter cold in the far south, as the icy air travels northward in a matter of days. The snow in Mendoza and the chill in the capital are linked, a chain reaction set off by distant ocean changes, connecting regions hundreds of kilometers apart. La Niña's reach is global, but its impact in Argentina is deeply personal. It shapes the weather, influences the grape harvest, and alters the rhythm of daily life for millions. A shift in the Pacific can mean bundled-up families huddling indoors, turning up heaters, and preparing for longer, colder nights. And for vineyard owners thousands of kilometers away, it brings anxious days and sleepless nights as they work to protect their precious crops from frost. It's a vivid reminder of how interconnected our climate truly is, and how a shift in one part of the world can ripple across continents, touching lives in unexpected ways. The polar air's journey starts in Patagonia, a land of glaciers and wild winds. When a cold outbreak begins, it sweeps across the steppe, bringing biting winds to Santa Cruz and Chubut. Crossing the Rio Colorado, the chill invades the Pampas, where mild days turn icy in hours. Cattle ranches and grain fields face sudden threats as temperatures plunge. The Andes funnel the cold north, hitting Mendoza and the central provinces with force. By the time it reaches Buenos Aires, the air is still cold enough to shock the city, bringing near-freezing temperatures and a biting wind chill. Occasionally, the cold is deep enough for snow to fall even in lowland vineyards. For that to happen, the entire air column must be below freezing, a rare but magical event. This is how Argentina's heartland is transformed by a Patagonian winter. Snow in Mendoza's vineyards is a surreal sight, rows of vines and brown earth erased by white. Locals marvel at the beauty, snapping photos and making memories as children play in the snow. The contrast is stunning, dark vines against a snowy canvas, the Andes blending into the sky. But for winemakers, the beauty is tinged with anxiety. Snow can insulate dormant vines, but a late frost after budding can devastate a year's harvest. Even in winter, extreme cold can damage the vine's structure, threatening future yields. Vineyard managers monitor temperatures, sometimes deploying wind machines or sprinklers to fight frost. The snow is a reminder, nature's beauty and danger are inseparable in wine country. Every winemaker in Mendoza knows this delicate dance all too well. When a true cold snap hits Buenos Aires, the city's spirit changes. The familiar energy of the streets is replaced by a quiet determination as everyone adapts to the chill. The city, known for its vibrant life, suddenly feels more introspective, as if holding its breath against the icy air. Outdoor cafes empty, parks and markets fall silent, and the city's usual buzz slows to a shiver. The laughter and music that usually fill the air are replaced by the sound of wind rustling through empty plazas. Porteños bond over the Frio Polar, swapping stories and layering up in practical winter fashion. Friends gather in cozy cafes, hands wrapped around steaming mugs, sharing warmth and conversation as the cold lingers outside. Shops selling scarves and gloves do brisk business as people dig out heavy coats. Window displays fill with colorful hats and thick sweaters, and shoppers search for the perfect gear to fend off the chill. The cold also exposes social divides. While many retreat to heated homes, thousands of homeless face real danger. For them, each night is a struggle to stay warm, and the drop in temperature can be life-threatening. City shelters and charities ramp up efforts, offering soup, blankets, and refuge. Volunteers work tirelessly, distributing hot meals and warm clothing, determined to help those most at risk. The media highlights these struggles, turning the cold into a moment of social conscience. News reports urge citizens to check on neighbors and support local shelters, reminding everyone of the importance of community. Daily routines shift. Nights out are replaced by quiet evenings at home. Families gather around heaters, sharing meals and stories, finding comfort and togetherness as the city outside grows colder. The power grid strains under demand, and outages test the city's resilience. Commuters bundle up for longer waits, and workers race to restore electricity, highlighting the challenges of a city unaccustomed to such cold. Buenos Aires, built for milder weather, must adapt quickly. Old buildings creak in the cold, and residents seal windows and doors, improvising to keep the warmth inside. The cold snap reveals both the city's vulnerabilities and its capacity for solidarity. Neighbors check in on each other, sharing resources and offering help to those in need. In the face of an unusual freeze, the city comes together, if only for warmth. Through shared hardship, Buenos Aires finds a renewed sense of unity, proving that even in the coldest moments, its heart remains warm. The cold wave disrupts daily life everywhere. In cities, commutes become endurance tests. People huddle at bus stops, the subway is packed, and every errand feels harder. In the countryside, snow delays vineyard work and makes roads treacherous. Farmers scramble to protect livestock and crops, battling frozen water and biting winds. Most Argentine homes aren't built for deep cold. Insulation is poor, and central heating is rare. Families rely on space heaters, driving up energy bills and safety concerns. The struggle to keep warm becomes a daily challenge. Social life shifts indoors. Outdoor asados are replaced by hearty stews and close-knit gatherings. The cold forces everyone to slow down, conserve energy, and focus on essentials. It's a collective test of endurance, uniting Argentines in a shared challenge. The routines may change, but the sense of community grows stronger. Together, the country weathers the storm, one chilly day at a time. For Mendoza's vineyards, cold is both threat and necessity. Severe frost, especially in spring, can destroy buds and slash yields, devastating small wineries. But vines need winter dormancy. Cold helps them rest and ensures a healthy, synchronized spring. A good freeze can even kill pests, reducing the need for chemicals and supporting sustainable farming. The challenge is balance, enough cold for healthy vines, but not so much it causes damage. Each year's weather shapes the wine's character. Snowy winters can mean more acidity or unique flavors. The 2025 vintage will tell the story of this rare winter, captured in every bottle. For winemakers, the snow is both a worry and a promise of something special. In the end, resilience and adaptation define the harvest and the wine. What makes these cold snaps unforgettable is their rarity. In a country built for sun and outdoor living, a true freeze is a national event. Snow in unlikely places and polar winds in Buenos Aires become stories retold for years. These moments unite Argentines, creating a shared memory and a sense of community. The beauty of snow-covered vineyards and silent city streets is captured and celebrated. For a brief time, practical worries are set aside in awe of nature's spectacle. These events become markers in time. Remember the big freeze of 25? They connect city and countryside, highlighting the country's vulnerability and resilience. The Andean chill is more than weather. It's a fleeting, powerful lesson in adaptation. Long after the snow melts, the memory of this rare winter lingers, shaping the story of Argentina and its people.